to the April version of the board meeting. And the first item up is attendance. So we'll just zip through by call area. First area, present, K1UU. Second call area.
Present.
Third call area. Are you in there, Keon?
AE3HAY, I'm here.
Excellent. Good to hear you. Fourth call area. Gary?
I'm here, K9GWS.
Thank you. Fifth call area.
Fifth, WA6LBU.
Thank you, Clay. Sixth call area.
KJ80, present.
Thank you, Joe. Seventh call area. Uh-oh. We seem to have a call area missing. Okay, we'll move on. Eighth call area.
KG8WL for the
Good evening, Ralph. Ninth call area.
W9ROG present.
Excellent. 10th call area.
AA0HF is present.
Thank you, Eric. Off to the foreign lands DX.
CP3 CMV, we're here, eh?
All right, Vice President. Okay, gotcha, and President.
N7XG present.
All right, so last call for 7th area attendees. Moving on. This number 2 item on the agenda is the minutes. Could I get a second to approve the minutes?
second,
WA6LBU.
Okay, can we do that again?
Second, WA6LBU.
We got an LBU second.
I think I doubled with Joe, but
Okay.
It's okay.
So is there any comments, discussion, anything we need to talk about in the minutes?
Yeah, Fred, I have some comments, K9GWS.
Let's go. Go ahead.
Okay, so I sent an email out on this before. The vote count for the board chair is not correct. It shows approved 9. It was actually approved 10 and 2 not present.
Okay.
So that is incorrect. I thought we'd get that corrected before the meeting. And then for the vote count for treasurer is wrong. Well, vote count for treasurer looks wrong. However, what's wrong with the treasurer vote count is I didn't approve it. I abstained. So if you change me from approved to abstain, then the vote count at the bottom is correct.
Say that again. I'm confused, Gary. So you said the vote count is wrong at 9?
The vote, yes, because count the approved. There are 10 approved. The problem is there was only 2 not present, and it shows 3 not present.
So I took the roll call that night, and I've got 9 approved. I've got 1 abstain, and I've got 3 not present.
Okay, so second area and third area were not present. Who else wasn't?
DX.
No, I got DX as approved.
That's what it says here.
last week.
Okay.
Okay, so we're saying the correct way is with the 1 abstain, 2 not present, and 10 yay votes. Would you agree with that, Gary?
Yes. If what is above here is correct, that's the right count.
Okay. Okay, so help me here. What's the correct way to do this? Do we not vote on the minutes, get a correction, and then do another vote? Is that
I think
proper?
we're going to have to. I think in order to correct this, is we're going to need to take a look at the video from last month and verify what Gary has said. Because, like I said, I wrote this down, and I don't show DX. I show Craig with a late check-in.
And I was a late check-in as well, and I don't remember offhand, guys. I think I did miss the first one for sure. The chairman, I think.
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
So either way, it's incorrect right now.
Right.
It should be 9, 3 not there, and 1 abstain.
No, I disagree.
But we showed DX approved, so that needs to be above, needs to be changed to abstained if that's what happened.
Not present.
Or not present, I mean. Not present.
3 not present. Fred abstained, 9 approved.
Right.
Gary abstained, and I disagree with your count, Dean, and I think Gary does too. So we'll look at the video and get that corrected.
That's fine. Yeah, we can do that. Right.
Okay. So we'll get that fixed and we'll let it go for the moment. Let's move on to the financials. Any, well, first of all, any discussion there? Okay, can I get a second on the
Second.
financials? Is that
And
you,
to
Peter?
FTT.
Got you. Thank you. So let's go by call area. First area approves. Second call area.
Approve.
Third call area.
Third call area abstains.
Okay, thank you, Keon. Fourth call area.
Abstain, K9 GWS.
Okay. Fifth call area.
Approves.
Thank you. Sixth call area.
Sixth call area approves.
Seventh call area is not present. Okay, we agree with that. Eighth call area, Ralph. You're muted, Ralph.
Okay, we'll talk. Eighth area approves.
Thank you. Ninth call area, Roger.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. 10th call area.
10th call area approves.
Thank you. DX, Craig.
DX area approves.
Thank you. Vice President, Bob. Thank you. You got a, your Vox isn't working. President.
And 7XG approves.
Thank you. Okay, so I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 approves, 3 abstains, and 1 not present. The motion passes. No discussion? Okay, good. The fourth item on the agenda is the committee reports. The first committee report is the awards committee, and this is where we should discuss it. I have some comments on it, but I'll open it up to anyone else that wants to comment on the committee reports. Okay, I'll take the floor. On the committee report for the awards, Ben and his team discuss the virtue of repeating the eyeball award from last year. And he suggests, or he floats the idea, he doesn't suggest or recommend or anything, that we do a QSO party type affair for the eyeball period. Now, I've gotten input and requests to do that from other people. My only comment is I don't think it should include any QRP nets because that would advantage people at the eyeball. But if we take those off the table, is there any objection to rerunning the QSO party, say from July 15th to August 15th? And we'll do it the same way we did in January. Any comments? Dean?
Yes,
I
I think we will take, I think you should take any special event net at the eyeball out of the equation. So for example, if they decide to run a RIDI net from the eyeball, special RIDI net from the eyeball, that it doesn't qualify. It would only be for our regularly scheduled nets.
Right.
Okay.
I agree with that. I like your wording better. Anybody else?
I agree with what Dean said.
Okay.
And I think I like the dates for it. That makes sense.
Why? I have a question. Why from July 15th to August 15th? Why not just for the eyeball, the 4 days?
Because we've got people going. I think we need a runner for a month. I think that we're going to get activity. We're going to get people that are mobile, that are going, coming, going through, whatever it is. And if we do it just for the eyeball, then I think that we're going to really make it kind of limiting. And I talked to Fred about this, is that we really have to promote this to the membership as a whole, rather than an advantage to the eyeball attendees. That was my comment when I talked to Fred about it. So, you know, running for a month, we've got a good success story from when Fred ran his version of it in January. Boy, what a wonderful event it was, you know, and a lot of good comments. Let's do it again, same format. Let's go from, you know, for that 30-day period starting July 15th and run it through the eyeball, run it for regularly scheduled nets and see what happens. Because it sure did generate some excitement.
Yeah, you said regular nets, but you said something a few minutes ago, not for RIDI or PDSK. Is that
no?
correct?
I said not for any of the special nets that are run during the eyeball. For example, if at the eyeball we determine that we want to run a special RIDI net, then that would be excluded. It would only be for the regularly scheduled nets that are on the net or on the schedule. Again,
I have another question. I remember at the eyeball in, I forgot now, Delaware, that there was no RIDI nets, there was no PSK nets, but Keon, you know, it was tough doing what he was doing.
So
why can't the RIDI nets be available to everyone, not just those that are at the eyeball?
You didn't hear what I said. What I'm saying is that the QSO party would be for regularly scheduled nets that are on the net schedule for that day. And when, for example, at Delaware, we ran the CW net for several hours on Saturday afternoon. It wasn't restricted to eyeball, but I think it went on for a couple hours as well. And all I'm trying to say is I think that we need to make sure that this is something equitable for the club as a whole and not for just the eyeball attendees. So,
okay.
And are you willing to open that up for all the nets? Take the QRP off and just call it an eyeball net special session?
Well, yeah, that's where Peter was going, I think, is that the QRP nets have a tendency to be eyeball only. And if you're back at home at the ranch for whatever reason, those nets are hard to get into. I mean, they're all pre-planned. Huh?
Real hard.
Real hard. So I think what, Ralph, excuse me if I step on this, but why not run the nets with 100 watts and let anybody out there try to participate?
1,000 or more if you got it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, can I, not to throw cold water on anything, but there's a whole philosophy discussion of QRP nets and the eyeball. I was trying to ask the QSO party question independent of that. But I don't know. Do we want to have more discussion about high-powered local nets during the eyeball? Roger?
What's the definition of QRP? Not 100 watts.
No, I know.
Okay, so QRP nets are for the eyeball individuals to do back and forth to each other. It's not for people in you know, other states.
So I think the question is, why not?
I kind of disagree with that, Roger. We run the QRP nets with the understanding that the participants, including net control, are going to run 5 watts or less. That's kind of that's been kind of the expectation that we've had over time. We haven't mandated, but and I can remember at one of the eyeballs, I can't remember which one it was, we did have a station check in that wasn't an eyeball attendee. In fact, he wasn't even a member of the Century Club, and he found us and he wanted to check in. And of course, he had no idea what was going on when he checked in. So,
Okay.
but your analysis as to why we have the 2 QRP nets is 100% accurate. It's so that the eyeball attendees can work each other and keep the eyeball attendee to eyeball attendee off of the regularly scheduled nets in the evenings so that our members can work eyeball attendees.
Correct.
Yeah, I would really, I could go on for a week about eyeballs, who runs them, who owns
Yep.
them, the club
Yep.
responsibility. I was just floating an idea about the QSO party and trying to see if there was any objection.
I don't think it's fair, but you know, That's just
What's
my
not
opinion.
fair?
having
what-
having QRP eyeball nets qualify for the eyeball QSL party.
we will not do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Will not, yeah.
We will not do that.
Good.
If that's the way it is, I'm not running it because that just advantages the people at the eyeball,
Great.
right? So
Yeah.
that's my one objection, Roger. That's what I don't want to happen. So,
Me either.
okay.
Yeah, no, and I think Fred was saying that earlier, just the regular scheduled 40 meter, 75 meter nets, not the QRP nets, would not count in this particular QSO party.
Right.
They could still run for the purposes that were talked about before, but not
Okay.
part of the QSO party.
All right. So,
Still in the meeting?
that was my comments on the committee reports. I really took us off sidetrack. Any more discussion on committee reports before we move on? Okay, thank you. We'll go to the first motion, which is 4-2022-1, which is the budget submitted by Gary, the treasurer, for 2022. And be sure you look at the one that is on the website and in the agenda. That's the right revision, and it had a correction in it. I will point out, Gary, and I don't know if it's material or not, but when we added the $500 to the budget, we called it a donation.
Yeah, so I don't think it matters. And here's why I say that.
Yeah.
So there's been sort of a myth floating around the club for a little while that we can't make donations. That's not correct. I think that got started because we were talking about making a donation, but it wasn't the kind of donation we're allowed to make. Anytime we spend money for whatever it is, it has to be something that benefits the club. We're a social organization. We're not a charity organization. And so when we spend money, which NetLogger is a big benefit to the club, right? We could hardly run our nets without it. So that makes sense. And it doesn't matter too much what you call it. But if you wanted to make a donation to somebody else, let's say the Cancer Society, because we thought it was a good idea, we wouldn't be allowed to do that because it's not a direct benefit for members of the club. So.
Okay. Thank you for that. So with that, I'll put it open to discussion. Any discussions on the budget? All right. Can I get a second for the budget?
Second, N2XTC.
We got the second call area doing the second. All right. And now we'll take a roll call vote. The first call area approves. K1UU. Second call area, Peter.
N2XTC approves.
Thank you. Third call area, Keon. Uh-oh. I sidetracked the meeting and we lost Keon. I'm going to put Keon as not present. We'll look for him. Fourth call area.
Approved, K9 GWS.
Gotcha. Fifth call area, Clay.
Approved, WA6LBU.
Thank you. Sixth call area, Joe.
6 area approves, KJ Adol.
Thank you. Seventh call area, still not present. Eighth call area, Ralph.
Call area approved.
Thank you. Ninth call area, Roger.
Ninth approves.
Thank you. 10th call area. Where'd I go?
Call-
Eric?
Yeah, 10th call area approves.
Thank you. DX, Craig?
DXV 3 CMB approves.
Thank you. VP, Bob? It's okay. We got a thumbs up. We're going to call that an approve. Audio visual success. And President Dean?
And Thevenixie approve.
Thank you. Okay, so I count 10 approves and 3 not, or no, 11 approves and 2 not presents. Okay, sold. All right, so the next motion is 4-2022-2, submitted by Dean to officially introduce a monthly newsletter in replacement of the traditional Centurion. There was some discussion early on about what it's called. Dean modified the motion a couple of days ago. The modified motion is part of the agenda, so that's the official revision we're talking about. Any other discussion on that motion?
I have just one comment. Is in the motion, I provided a handful of objectives. Okay. I just want to make sure that people understand this doesn't limit what the objectives are. It basically kind of sets forth what our overall objectives are. And for example, if the editor wants to run a buy sell column, he can do that. So he's not limited to only doing this.
Okay. Is that list a minimum must do?
Not must, it's just basically, it's the objectives. It's
Okay.
basically,
Guidelines.
we've never done that before. We've got something now. If something happens to Steve and he wants to step down, we've got something that we can share with a prospective new editor is these are the objectives. Can you do the job, etc. That's all.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion for the Centurion? Okay, let's go. Can I get a second?
Hold it. Eric he raised his hand.
I had one
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. The only thing I'd be concerned about is just how's the workload been on Steve, right? Moving from 5 times a year to monthly. Has that been working out? I mean, it's all volunteer work, right?
Well, it goes something like this, is that when I was looking for a Centurion editor, Steve stepped forward and he said, I think what the club needs is a monthly newsletter. And I said, okay, tell me more. And so he laid out some basic kinds of things. And he says, and by the way, there will be some expectations of a few people in the club to write monthly columns, myself included. And I have heard nothing negative about the monthly format of the newsletter. And what I have heard is that it's providing timely information to our membership rather than dated information. It's like, I'll give you an example, the road trip that KL7JR and KU1V had, and the fact that it got scuttled, and then he responded with his article, timely. I mean, it worked out real well. Previous newsletter, we're going on a big road trip, it failed, here's why, and move on. So it is providing timely information to the club. So I think that's the big difference. And you know, I think Steve is doing a really, really good job with it. So, but he's not doing it alone. And the other thing that I told Steve is that I do not expect you to be author of articles in the newsletter. It needs to come from the members, from the directors, from the VIPs, whoever, but it needs to come from the membership. And look what I just take a look at the current issue, and that's what it is. So yeah.
Thanks, Dean. That makes sense.
It is nice. Okay. I didn't write down a second. Anyone want a second?
K9 GWS.
Thank you, Gary. And we will move to a vote. First call area, K1UU approved. Second call area, Peter?
Approve.
Thank you. Keon, are you back? I don't see you. NP. Fourth call area.
Approve. K9 GWS.
Okay. Fifth call area. Clay.
Approves WA6LBU.
Thank you. Sixth call area. Joe.
Approve KJ 8L.
Thank you. Seventh call area. Not present. Eighth call area. Ralph.
Eighth call area approved, KG8WL.
Thank you. Ninth call area. Roger.
Ninth approves.
Thank you. 10th call area. Eric.
AA0HF approves.
Thank you. DX, correct?
The 3 CMB approves.
Thank you. VP Bob.
VP approves.
Got it. That's an audio approve. I'm going to make a note. All right. President.
And 7XG approves.
Thank you. So I count again on this. 11 approves, 2 not present. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. The number 7 item on the agenda is open discussion. Does anybody have any topics or things they would like to discuss? Dean?
I'd like to just state that I've been your president for the last couple of years or more, but I just want to tell all of you how proud I am to have you as officers and members of the club. It's just really, really good working with you all. And we're doing such a good job. I mean, we are making a difference collectively. So a big thank you. I'm really proud of you all. Keep it up. I've got 2 more years, and I hope that, you know, in when is it, 2024, when I pass the baton, that we're even in better shape than we are today. So thank you very much.
Are you going to be sending out donation envelopes for that or anything?
Well, I tried to do something in the Telegram, but nobody responded. So
Okay.
wait a
I'm
minute,
sorry.
wait a minute. Here's an envelope.
Thank you, Dean. Any other discussion topics? Gary.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, I got some flack from a couple members in my area here that the minutes aren't getting out within the 10-day specified time period. So if we could do whatever we can to try to get those out within the 10 days, that would be appreciated by me. I wouldn't have to answer so many emails.
I got a suggestion for you, Gary.
What's that?
Tell those members to move out of your area, and then you don't have the problem.
That's a good idea. Maybe I'll have them move into like your area, D.
Doesn't matter. It's not my problem. They still have an area director they need.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Let me think who I could pick on here.
Have moved to Canada, you know. Craig can take care of it.
There's another
Hey.
possibility. There's another possibility, Gary.
What's that?
Laws allow for the treasurer and the secretary to be held by the same person. So keep that in mind for next year.
I guess that could be.
I
can-
have a point. I don't know if it affects anyone on the board, but I must have gotten back through the Bureau folks who were announced on the net that they were good in the Bureau, but when I sent the cards to the Bureau, either those people never sent envelopes in, or the person who said they were going to be good in the Bureau never notified the KBA, the Bureau managers that puts some envelopes aside for this call or that call. So I don't know if that's a problem for the board, or that's a problem for the NCSs, or because it's annoying when you send a card back, you get a card back from February and you look in your logbook and it says good in the Bureau, and keep right, they weren't good in the Bureau.
Little
So I
pink
don't know what
post-it
we-
note from Rob.
Amazon stock.
Comment on that, Peter.
Yep.
Yeah, if it's a call that you don't recognize or the NCS says, well, I'm going to make them good in the Bureau, check the good in the Bureau database before you send it to the Bureau. I know the Robs have put that information out there just to check basically anyone in general, but especially, I imagine, if you're not familiar with the call, because you know, even if they're made given courtesy envelopes, those are only good for 30 days. And if you work them before that 30 days is up, chances are by the time your card gets to the Bureau, they're no longer good in the Bureau. So, especially with the newer ones, check the database, send it to the Bureau. That's it, and I'm back to whoever.
So we got two issues popped up here. One is the minutes not complying, and the second one is misinformation as far as good in bureaus. Shouldn't somebody walk away from here with the action to look at that? Looking for.
I think that the problem that Peter is describing that I have encountered is there is such a short window of courtesies that are good in the Bureau. I mean, Rob runs a real tight ship. He says it's 30 days. And if you don't get those cards in ASAP, guess what? You're going to get the little pink thing saying he's no longer good in the Bureau. No indication either. So, and I have no idea. I mean, we have no record of knowing, for example, this card that I've got, when this individual was good. I just don't know. I know that he popped up GIB, cards went out, and they got rejected. So
I got March 13th and March 19th.
Yep.
And they should have been good in the Bureau, but they weren't.
Yep.
Okay.
Comment on that. Is there any way that we could make a special notation on the good in Bureau to indicate that it's a courtesy envelope, to kind of put a flag up to check, you know, if you mail in 2 days later, if the 30 days hasn't expired in the meantime?
Well,
I,
so that would impose some work on somebody, right?
Right.
But maybe we'll save cards flying back and forth.
what I'm saying is possibly the NCS forgot to notify the Bureau that they were good in the Bureau. Because whose envelopes are they using when the NCS says they're good in the Bureau? Is it the NCS or somebody else who volunteered?
it's the Bureau.
The bureaus.
Yeah, the Bureau has a surplus of envelopes that have expired, and those are the envelopes that he uses for the courtesy.
Okay, so March 19th shouldn't have come back then, is that correct?
I have no idea because I don't know
How
when. So the example that you state is that you worked a station on March 19th. There's no record as to when that station became a courtesy station.
So we're not going to solve this here because
We're not going to solve it.
No.
So I'll put my name next to the not in Bureau action and talk to Rob and see what I can figure out.
So I'll send you my little orange sheets then, right?
Well, no,
You
I'm
can
not-
fix this for me.
I'm not solving card problems.
That's
But
okay.
but we can, I'll go look at the process. Maybe there's something we can do to avoid it, because cards going back and forth is a real waste. I'd like to put somebody's name on the minutes being 10 days or late. Who's going to walk out of here and look at that? I mean, is that you, Rusty? Is that you, Dean? Who is it? Thank you.
No, it's
Dean
not
and-
me. It's not me. Okay. And I'll say this is that I am not going to be a micromanager making sure that our either elected positions or appointed positions do their job, and especially when they're limited or they're controlled by the bylaws. And this particular instance is that we have a section of the bylaws that address that minutes will be delivered to the club within 10 days. So, Rusty, it's going to be your onus.
I will take into effect, and I will get that out. But if somebody were to go back and look at the minutes that were corrected and reposted to the website, I took the changes that were all sent to me, updated the minutes, and reposted the corrected minutes for what I was given. So I just looked at them on the website, and that's what I put up there is what people told me were the corrections before this, and I corrected it within a few days after I was told they were wrong. So if they're wrong again, then that's because I was given wrong information. That's all I can do, and that's what I did. And I will get these out within this week, along with the other work I'm doing for the club.
Thank you. Okay. Any other open discussion items? And so that brings us to adjournment. Anyone want to?
Second.
So move. So move.
So who put the motion forward?
KGAWL.
Second, and 7XG.
7XG. Any objections to us adjourning? Okay, the meeting's adjourned. Do I have to do